So Gronk, according to Ian Rappaport on WEEI radio in Boston this morning, it was planned all along. Gronk wanted to follow Tom Brady. Gronk wasn't done with football. He was done with Belichick, much like Tom Brady. Not done with football, done with the system, the culture, and the rigid nature of Bill Belichick. This is not about just productivity. Gronk's past his prime, struggles to stay healthy. This is about comfort. When little kids go on the road, they take maybe a blanket or a teddy bear. Gronk is a 6'6.5" pacifier for Tom Brady. He's given him comfort on a road trip for a couple of years, maybe just one. He also can spread the gospel of Tom. I've traveled cross country 3 times. I always take somebody with me. Why? Because I don't want to waste any time. Somebody else can explain what I'm about. The demeanor, what he likes, what Tom doesn't like, what are his habits, what does he expect? Gronk can spread it through the locker room as Tom is memorizing the playbook and figuring out the idiosyncrasies of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And now also they have 3 tight ends in Tampa. O.J. Howard is the most talented but the most expensive, and they'll probably shop him and get a draft pick, 3rd or potentially 4th rounder. But it should be noted, do not downplay this. This matters. This is the Miami Heat team with LeBron adding a guy there, a Mike Miller there. Remember that Miami Heat team? And LeBron and Tom Brady have a Pied Piper effect. Veterans will take a pay cut, move to Florida, no state tax, fun head coach Bruce Arians. Play with the GOAT. Get on TV. It helps your brand. Don't kid yourself. Every time Miami would go out and get like a Mike Miller, and you'd be like, what's it matter? All Mike Miller needed was one good quarter in a playoff game. Hit 3 threes in a playoff game. Boom, that's the difference. Shane Battier didn't need to be great in a 7-game series. He needed to have a dominating half. He needed to get red hot once. LeBron carried the team. D. Wade was necessary. Chris Bosh had to be big. Everything else, you got little bits and pieces. Can Gronk 2 times next year in big games one against the Saints and one against Atlanta be a matchup nightmare in the red zone and have a touchdown? That's all. That's worth the $10 million. If Gronk can make 2 big red zone catches, one against the Saints and one against the Falcons, and it helps them win, that's why Fox Bet this morning moved the Super Bowl odds up for for Tampa to 4th in the NFL. It's a little incremental increase. It matters. Don't downplay this thing. Win total 9 to 9.5. That's a different bet, right? NFC, now currently number 3 in the NFC. It matters. When Miami was building, you had 3 guys that were the cornerstones. LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. And then you had a good coach. But everybody else mattered. Everybody else, Mike Miller, bang, bang, 2 big threes against the Spurs. Shane Battier, a great half. That's all that matters. Once you get the stars in place. Same with Golden State. It wasn't all about Durant. You add a guy here, a guy takes a pay cut there. Oh, David West got us 2 big rebounds in that game. And I think, and by the way, the Buccaneers, this came down, according to Rick Stroud. The Buccaneers are happy to have O.J. Howard, the tight end, line up with Gronk in 2 tight end formations, unless they're, quote, blown away with a trade offer. Translation, please call us. We are taking incoming calls in Tampa. And never forget this. Here's another little thing, is that in the last 6 games for Tampa last year, I am a huge fan of Todd Bowles. I thought he was excellent with the Jets, but he just wasn't a head coach. He was a great vice president. In the last 6 games last year, Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator for Tampa, in that division, Drew Brees, Matt Ryan, in that division, last 6 games, Tampa led the NFL in sacks and fewest yards allowed per play. This is a real team. Tom did not end up in a dumpster fire rebuild. You got an experienced coach, an improving defense, great weapons, and now you just added your 6'6" pacifier, Gronk. Even Fox Bet, the numbers are moving, and they should. Is he worth half? Is his comfort? But remember, never forget this. How big Gronk was the year they won the Super Bowl against the Rams. Remember the catch he had against Kansas City? The game-changing catch. Remember the catch he had against the Rams in the Super Bowl? He had 2 catches in those 2 games. Both were vital for New England winning close. All right, let's go to the other side of this. New England got a 4th-round pick for a retired player. Only New England. That's like trading a week-old bagel and getting a sirloin. It's ridiculous. They got a 4th-rounder for a retired player. New England wants a quarterback. We've been saying this. Why are they letting their kicker go and their linebackers go? And they didn't even wait on this. I'm reading the story this morning. Belichick was like, yep, have him. Go ahead. Take him. Just give us a draft pick. Why? Because New England wants a quarterback. The only question, and it will be answered tomorrow, do they want one of these guys, or are they willing to wait for Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields next year? We'll know the answer by tomorrow. I have been banging on this. Peter King reported earlier this week they like Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert more than everybody else. I think the Chargers move up to get Justin Herbert. But just ask yourself, this is why you got to keep your eye out. So New England now, by getting another pick, has 22 picks in the next 2 years. Because they're going to get 3 compensatory picks next year. They got 12 this year. So they have 12 now, 10. That's just what they have now. You also know they're willing to get rid of any player outside of Stephon Gilmore to get more picks. Why do they have all those picks? Because they want to bundle them and move up. Now, my speculation has been they're going to be average this year, a 7-9 team in an improved division, and close enough next year to give somebody 7 picks to get one of those 2 quarterbacks. Maybe the Jags get Trevor Lawrence, they go get Justin Fields. But. Never forget, is Belichick saying this? You know how, like, when you work at a place a long time, you have a lot of, like, relationships? Like if you worked in the pharmacy industry for 30 years or, any business. You're working at 30 years, you have a lot of contacts. I mean, Joy and I have worked in the media for a lot of years. You just know a lot of people. Never forget this. If New England, because everything's about relationships in life. If New England wants to move up, they have 12 picks. They have a lot of draft capital. And Belichick will move off anybody except Stephon Gilmore, the corner. I think he really would stay with him. Other than that, they'd move off anybody to get more picks. Well, Colin, Cincinnati's going to take Joe Burrow. Yeah. And Washington is probably going to take, Colin, they're probably going to take Chase Young. Yeah. But the number 3 team is Detroit. The GM and the coach are former Patriots. They could sure use 6 picks. New England's got 12. Well. What about, so what? Oh, Belichick drafted Cliff Kingsbury. Arizona's got the 8th pick. Relationship. Belichick called the Jags owner and recommended Doug Marrone be the head coach. Jags have the 9th pick. San Francisco, Belichick, Mike Shanahan, a lot of respect. They already worked a deal. Belichick did the Niners a solid. They have 2 first-round picks. Think about this. This is crazy, Joy. The teams in this draft, the coach at the number 3 team, the number 4 team, and the number 5 team are former Patriots. They got all sorts of draft capital and all sorts of relationship. 3, 4, and 5 teams, former Patriot coaches. The 8th pick, the coach there, Belichick drafted him. The 9th team, Belichick got the head coach a job. Just saying, folks. New England is shredding talent. They're letting their kicker go. Jamie Collins go. Van Noy go. Gronk, take him. And they're not replacing him. Why didn't New England take one of... They don't have a tight end. Tampa's got 3. Why didn't they just take a tight end? They didn't want a tight end. They wanted a draft pick. They have now 3 tight ends. O.J. Howard, his backup, Gronk. They need a tight end. This is not a good tight end draft. There's like 2 anybody likes. New England's like, nah, just give us another pick. 22 next 2 years. They're shedding talent. So we'll know by tomorrow. Either New England's moving up tomorrow to the 3 spot with a bunch of former Patriots, Joe Judge Giants. I mean, they'll make deals with anybody. You know Belichick, he moves. He's a mover and shaker. He may whiff on some draft picks, but you go look at his history. He'll move up. He'll move down. He is not the Bengals. He is wildly active on draft days. Very exciting. Got a 4th rounder for a retired player. It didn't even, and they got a cap relief because they were allowed to trade him. So Tampa pays him $10 million for a year. The draft is tomorrow. It's just incredibly exciting.